You understand English, you can watch a series without subtitles, understand videos on YouTube, songs, even celebrity interviews. But when you need to open your mouth to say something in English, crash. It seems that the brain freezes. The words disappear. The mind even understands, but the mouth does not collaborate. If this has happened to you, or still happens, stay with me, because today's episode will talk about it. And I promise, it will mess with you in a deep and transforming way. Be very welcome to our moment together. This one is not just another English tips video, it is a space where we really talk, where you can take a deep breath and feel that someone on the other side who understands exactly what you are going through. Because this frustration of understanding, but not being able to speak, is much more common than you think. And before we dive on this journey, let me ask you something. Continue here with me until the end. Because throughout this conversation, you will realize that you are not alone, and more important, that there is a way out. And it can be much lighter and more fun than you think. Now, why do we understand English and can't talk? Well, first of all, we need to talk about hearing. Yes, listen. To listen. Pay attention to sounds, rhythms, intonations. Hearing practice, the famous listening, is one of the most neglected keys by those learning English. And it's ironic, because you may even understand a song or movie, but if you are not training your ear intentionally, active, strategic, you will only recognize English, and it won't appropriate it. Think to me for a moment. A child spends years listening, observing, absorbing before saying his first sentence. She listens to her mother, the father, the brothers. She gets used to the sound of words, the emotion that comes with them. And one day, without anyone teaching grammar or making her decorate a list of verbs, she speaks. Naturally. And you know why? Because she heard enough. Because speech is a consequence of listening. Now imagine this. What if you allowed yourself to live English as a child? No pressure. Shameless. Without this absurd charge of talking right. What if you gave yourself the right to simply hear more? To repeat what you hear, imitate, play with the words? No fear of making mistakes. No fear of looking silly. Because deep down, the greatest enemy of its fluency may not be the lack of vocabulary, but the excess of self-criticism. And that's where the problem lives. We grow up and learn that it needs to be perfect. That has to hit everything. That cannot make mistakes. But with English, it is precisely the error it teaches. It is the repetition that shapes. It is the practice, albeit full of failures, that brings you closer to fluency. And if I told you that the path to you can finally be able to speak English is what you already do, but still doesn't explore enough? Yes, you already watch videos, already hear music, already follows creators of English content. But maybe you are not practicing the right way. Have you tried to hear a sentence and repeat right afterwards? Have you already paused a video, tried to imitate the pronunciation? Have you ever recorded talking just to hear how it sounds? It sounds bullshit, but it is these little habits that turn passive listening into an active workout. And it is this active workout that will free your speech. Now tell me, how many times have you frustrated for not being able to talk and just thought you have no talent for that? What English is not for you? Maybe it's too late? Let me tell you a truth that no one has told you yet. You don't need talent, need consistency, need patience, and above all, you need to hear yourself with more affection. Because you are not alone on this walk. There are people who studied for years, took a course, took a good grade and test, and yet feel a knot in the throat when needing to talk in English. Not because you don't know, but because it didn't practice the right way. Because he learned the theory, but did not train instinct. And that is what we will change here, together. Today, right now, you can make a choice. Keep feeling stretched, insecure, afraid to make mistakes, or start facing English more lightly, more natural. As a friend, you listen to every day until one day without realizing it. You start to answer. And do you know what is most interesting? The more you hear English with intention, paying attention to detail, the more your mind will get used to thinking about this language. And when your mind thinks of English, your body begins to react. The mouth is loose. Speech flows. And that block that seemed insurmountable begins to dissolve. But calm down, we are still only at first. In the next block, I will tell you why this speech block happens even after years studying English, and how you can start unlocking your mind from today with simple practices that really work. Let's go together, because now the time has come to understand what is really behind this block that makes you understand English, but not being able to talk. And the answer, my friend, is not just in your vocabulary, nor in your grammar. It is in your relationship with the language. It is in the way you have learned, and especially the way you were taught to feel English. Yes, you heard right, to feel. We learned English as a school subject, full of rules, corrections, evaluations, pressure. Speak right. This is wrong. This is not how it is said. Phrases that often lock more than they help. And when you associate English with error, shame, and charge, guess what happens? The brain activates the defense mode. He understands that speaking English is dangerous. It is uncomfortable. It is something that can expose you. And how does the brain want to protect you? What does it do? It blocks. He tries to avoid the situation. He silences you. But what if we change this logic? What if, instead of being afraid to speak, would you start to feel freedom, happiness, satisfaction for each pronounced word, even if it is not perfect? Because this is what the truth of truth provides, a sense of belonging, to be able to express itself, to say what you think, what you feel, in another language. It is a transformative experience, but it only happens when you change the emotional relationship with English. And it starts with something very simple: light and frequent practice. No studying 3 hours in a day and spending 2 weeks without seeing English. Fluency is daily construction. It is listening to a podcast while washing the dishes. It is repeating a phrase from a funny video. It is talking to yourself in the mirror. It is putting English on your day, your way. By the way, let me tell you something. You don't have to wait ready to start talking, because the truth is that no one ever feels totally ready. And if you wait for the ideal moment, you'll spend your whole life preparing and never entering the field. So talk the way you know. Uses the words you have. Rap, smiles, and continues. Because the only way to gain confidence in something is doing. It's stumbling. It is laughing at yourself. It is realizing that making mistakes does not kill you. Wrong moves you. And remember what we talked about active listening. So it is. It changes everything. Listen carefully. Repeat. Make shadow. Talk together with the audio. Pause and imitate. These small actions reprogram your brain. They activate the neurons you need to develop automatic speech. It's not magic. It is neuroscience. The more you listen and repeat, the more connections are created. And then, the words that once seemed locked begin to appear in your mouth. Out of nowhere. Effortless. As if they always had been there. And they were. They just needed space to leave. Now look, pay attention to it. Most people who give up learning English don't give up because it's hard. They give up because they do not see progress. Because they don't feel they are evolving. And this happens when we focus only on theory. When we forget to practice. To live the English. Therefore, the secret is not studying anymore, it's in practicing better. And here is a powerful trick. Choose a simple phrase a day. 1. Listen to her several times. Repeat. Serious. Imitate the accent. Recreate the emotion with which it was said. It may be from a movie, a song, any video. Do this for a week. And tell me later if your English didn't look more natural. Because it's no use just understanding. You need to incorporate the language. Think like this. Speaking English is how to play an instrument. You can read sheet music, study music theory, understand all chords. But if you don't get the guitar and practice every day, you'll never play. It's the same with English. And do you know what the biggest sign you are on the right track? That's when you start having fun with the process. When you stop charging yourself and starts playing with your tongue. When you allow yourself to make mistakes, laugh, try again. It is at this moment that learning is no longer an obligation and becomes passion. Now imagine how it will be when you are on a trip, asking for food with confidence, or talking to a gringo on the internet, or understanding and responding in real time. This is not a distant dream. This is closer than you think, and it starts with small daily decisions. So, Please don't give up speaking English just because today it seems difficult. The difficulty is temporary. The result? No. What's more, you are not alone in this. Here, in this channel, you have a safe place to learn, practice, grow. With each video, with each word, every sentence dictates with courage. You are closer to the fluency than you think. I know you can. You just need to continue. If you got here, it has taken a huge step on your journey. And you know why? Because the simple fact of keeping watching, wanting to understand more, of wanting to feel the real English, already puts you ahead of the majority. The truth is that most give up halfway. Most for when you find an obstacle. But you don't. You stayed. You heard. And now, it's time to turn this key for good. Let's recap together. You understand that speech block is not a sign of failure, but a natural consequence of the way you were taught. That is not a lack of talent. That is not stupid. That is not lazy. It's just your brain trying to protect you. But now you already have a new perspective. You already know that the practice of active listening, repetition, and daily exposure is the simplest and most powerful way to unlock your speech. You found that fluency is not a magic pass. It is built in the details, in each repeated sentence, in each error transformed into lesson, at every moment you dare to talk even with fear, even without being sure, and most importantly, you have learned that English is not studied, if you live. Now think to me. What keeps you from starting today? You don't need an expensive course, not even an international trip, not even a certificate hanging on the wall. What you need is there with you right now, your cell phone, your will, your courage. It starts small, but it starts. Listen to an excerpt from an English video. Repeat aloud. I recorded yourself. Play with the words. Let the Englishman come in not only in his head, but in his routine. You don't have to know everything to start, but you need to start to know more and more. And if you hit that insecurity again, because it will hit, yes, remember everything you already understood here today. Remember that no one is born fluent. Remember that you have already advanced a lot, that you understand English, and this is already a privilege. Now it's just a matter of time and practice to speak naturally. And if I can give you a final advice, it would be this. Be patient with your process. This is kindly. Celebrate the small victories. A very told phrase. A conversation you managed to keep. A word that came out effortlessly. Each is a brick building its fluency. No need to hurry. Need constancy. And above all, connect with English in a way of yours. Watch videos you love. Sing songs that do you good. Read texts that inspire you. Practice with lightness. Because when learning is pleasant, it becomes sustainable. And when he is sustainable, he becomes a result. You are capable. You have everything you need. And most importantly, you are not alone. Here in this channel, you have a support space, motivation, welcome. Each video is made to remind you that the impossible is just a matter of time and practice, and that every word you dare to say, even in fear, is a victory over that silence that once arrested you. Then go there. Today. Choose a sentence. Listen. Repeat. Play with her. Feel the vibration of your voice speaking English. Feel that it is possible. Feel it is real. And if you want to take more step, you subscribe here on the channel. Activates notifications. Leave your comment saying, I'm going to speak English, yes. Because this is your declaration of commitment to yourself. And share this video with someone you know you also need to hear that, because together we go further, more confident, more fluent. Thank you for letting me go with you on this journey. May this be just the beginning of a new phase in your life, a phase in which you stop silent, and it begins to express yourself with freedom. We see each other in the next video. Until then, keep going. You got this.